Hello and welcome to my YouTube video. Today I'm going to be painting this lovely cat under this blanket. I try and post a painting every week where I discuss a different topic. So I hope you can subscribe to my channel and I hope you enjoy them. So in this one, I'm going to be talking about why it might be the case that you feel that you can't paint certain things. I get a lot of people contact me and they tell me that they just, they can't paint cats, dogs, horses, fur, that, etc. And they ask me how they should approach these things and how they should paint them. And I always say back to them, well, I approach everything, no matter what I'm painting, in the same way. Everything is made up of shapes, tone and temperature. There is nothing varies from that rule. So if you look at this painting and you break it down into a very abstract form, you have sort of a circle, which is the cat's face. You sort of then have a larger oval if you include the body. You kind of have a couple of triangles for the ears, and it's sort of sat under a sort of a semicircle shape for the blanket. So a trick you can do to try and make sure that you see the shapes rather than the object is to turn the painting upside down, because that completely confuses the eye. In fact, what my art teacher did when he first started teaching me a long time ago was he got me to draw around one of my paintings every single shape I had with a piece of chalk, just to illustrate the fact that my whole painting was just made up of shapes. So it's really important when you sit down to draw or paint something that you consistently keep asking yourself, what is the shape that I'm drawing? You have to try to unsee the literal object that your mind is telling you. So for example, in this case, looking at this picture, your literal mind is telling you that you're seeing a cat sitting under a blanket. And you have to see it in terms of those abstract shapes. So when I look at this picture, all I see is a couple of triangles, a circle, an oval, and a sort of a semicircular shape. I don't see the literal cat until the end part of the picture, when I've started to get a lot more paint onto the image. Everything is very abstract to me. So I know that's quite a hard thing to try and do, but one of my students that I'm working with, every time she sits down to draw, I always say to her, right, just consistently say to yourself, what shape am I drawing? What shape am I drawing? What shape am I drawing? And her drawing skills have improved so much, and she says it really helps trying to see things in this abstract way rather than trying to see literally what's in front of her. So I think I should also mention a little bit about working from reference photos as well, because I think that working from photos can be quite hard, and it's quite a giveaway as well. When an artist has used a photo, if they don't completely understand how the eye sees things. So when your eye looks at an object, it has a central point of focus, and then everything else around it is kind of blurry. Now, I'm not sure if that's like a thing from like hunting days, or the way that the eye is developed. I just maybe kind of making this up, but it probably is true that, so the way our eyes have had to form was to really see things very clearly of what we were honing in on, and then everything else around it is kind of very generalized and very fuzzy. So you kind of have to bear that in mind when you look at these very over-processed photos that have been kind of very sharpened, very saturated. The eye does not see things like that. everything else is much softer. So it's a really good idea to pick an area. So for example, like, well, I want to concentrate more on maybe his eyes and his nose, and I'll make everything else around it kind of fuzzy with soft lines and everything. That's really quite important, because it will make it look less like you've worked from a very over processed photo and a little bit more realistic. So it's also really important to try and understand what is happening with the light in the picture that you're looking at. So for example, you're looking at the shape, so you're looking at the circle of the face in the picture and you're saying, right, I've got some clear light going on in this picture. Which side is this light coming from? Is the cat backlit? Is the light coming from the right? Is the light coming from the left? Because that's really important in terms of understanding your shape. Because if the light is coming from the right and it's creating a shadow on the opposite side, this is going to affect what you're looking at. So you'll always get a lighter area, a mid-tone area, and a dark area, plus reflected light. And this is a general rule that doesn't really change. And so you just always need to apply it to the shape that you're looking at in relation to what is happening with the light. Finally, you just have to ask yourself, what is the temperature of the thing that I'm looking at? Is it warm or is it cool? Because obviously this is going to affect how you paint it, the colours that you use. And I would recommend using quite a limited palette because it makes you much more sensitive to mixing up colours. So hopefully these general rules will help you approach things maybe that you have struggled with before, and maybe give you some confidence to paint things that you don't normally paint. Thank you for watching.